Ship's log. Celestial date 218.239.21. I have just come out of the drift and I have found Wellspring Station. It looks from the outside like it's been stripped clean. I don't see any sensor arrays, radar dishes, or even any weapons like gun turrets on the outside. There are some lights blinking on the outside, and I see a few lights through the portholes in the sides of the station. They're flickering. It seems like it's on low power mode, which is what I had heard before. But the biggest problem is there is a Stinger ship from the Shattered Federation docked at one of the docking ports. So I'm going to fly my starship around to the other side and dock there. And then I've got to get in there and see if I can find Mainframe, and I may be trying to find Mainframe before whoever these pirates are, these raiders, get to her. Hello and welcome. I am Scrapperlock, and this is Starforged Alpha Cluster. We are with our main character, Krista, who has arrived at Wellspring and is now getting ready to look through the derelict for Mainframe. This is going to have to be an expedition. First of all, because expeditions are cool, and I've not done a derelict before. But second of all, because there are raiders here now. And we need to see if we can get to Mainframe and protect this person from the raiders so that we can get the information we need. In the previous session, Krista left Dead Rock and followed this, which is now her own personal drift to Relic. It is now just as safe to travel in a single trip as these, but nobody else knows this way through the drift except Krista, unless she decides to share that information with somebody. And she might. We'll see what happens. So I've colored it a different color. The bluish ones are going to be the personal drift passages that Krista has done herself by undertaking expeditions, and the orange ones are going to be the known ones that everybody knows. So we found a bunch of things. We found this star Sigma Chronos. We found this nebula, which I've randomly chosen from fantasynamegenerator.org or whatever it is. They have nebula names, and I just did a couple of generations. So like a Cat's Tail Nebula, I like that. That sounds cool. We found black hole BHK1. Also, we had to duck the gamma ray at the Cat's Tail Nebula. Now, the ray is inside this hex, but I don't have it in there because like when you put two tokens on top of each other, it gets kind of confusing. So they're there, and then we finally drifted here. We finished our expedition with a weak hit, which meant that there was a challenge here, and the challenge is that there is a Shattered Federation Stinger ship dock. Now, Stinger ships have 3 seats. They are fighters. They are not the like sort of larger corvettes. They don't have big holds and shuttles. They're not much bigger than the type of shuttle. You could almost dock. In fact, you probably could dock a Stinger ship inside Krista's ship, and they're not that big. So they don't have a large crew, but we do know they have 3 seats, so there could be up to 3 Shattered Federation raiders here, which I do as scrap bandits. These guys will be armed with more than just like a tire iron the way the last guy was. Probably won't be 1. It'll probably either be 2 or 3, because there's usually a pilot, a co-pilot, and maybe a navigator or a commander. And so they may be here. They may be, well, they are here. They may be looking for Mainframe. They may be looking for something else. Don't know. And so Krista has to get inside and undertake this expedition. So I have created another progress track for her. Undertake an expedition. I made it dangerous again. One of the reasons I don't go with the harder ones isn't just that they're harder. It's just they're longer. Right? We could probably get a 4 to 5 step, 8 to 10 progress, right? 2 ticks per shot delve done in about a session. But if I go into Formidable, and now it's going to take probably 2 sessions to do. If I into Epic or something, we'll be here for 10 sessions. I've never actually done anything beyond Formidable for delves, journeys, vows. And one of the reasons is it just takes so long, and you only get 1 tick at a time, 2 ticks at a time. And I feel like that's, kind of it slows everything down, right? If you're just on one quest for 25 sessions, there's not a lot of variety. We've done a bunch of things with Krista already, even with our mess ups and bad rolls. We've undertaken 3 expeditions right? And we have completed 2 vows, and we've done that in uh, 10 sessions. So that's like we complete a the progress track every 2 sessions. That's reasonable to me. If these things were extreme, we would have only completed one of them so far. So anyway, that's why I try not to do formidable. Also, I feel like until she's had some experience and gained either more assets or filled these assets more, I don't want to make it too hard for her. All right, so she can potentially use esoteric knowledge here. We don't really know. She also has scavenger abilities, that's gathering information or scavenging a wreck or a ruin or abandoned site. So this is a place where she could gather information and gain bonuses in this wreck. It is a sort of a ruined ship. Now, I didn't give it a location theme because the primary one that I thought we could do would be ruined, but we already did that with the vault. So I don't want to have the same stuff keep coming up, so we're just going to do this as a derelict delve. And when we get, you know, bad stuff happen, we'll just roll the peril and opportunity. They have all these different areas. So I don't know where we're going to come in. We're going to kind of like sort of go into the section where the docking, where the gangway where the airlock locks in and the walkway from the ship to the station connects, and then we have to go in through there. So I don't know why this is here. It's not evaluating paragraphs. Not sure. They just did an update, so that might be part of the problem. Okay, so Krista is going to dock her ship, and she's going to open the airlock and go through the gangway. She doesn't need her environmental suit. Her sensors indicate that there is life support. There's enough energy that there is life support on board this ship, on board this station. So what I've done is, this is just a schematic, right? Is I've created a bunch of kind of rooms. This isn't what it actually looks like. It's probably much bigger than this, with hallways going around and rooms on the in and outside. But all we need to do is go through 5 or 6 or 7 rooms to get through our delve. And so we're going to start, and Krista's going to take her little robot with her, Iris. So we're going to start by moving inside, and we're coming to the doorway. So we got to do our inner first look. So let's do that first. She comes to the hatch, right? This is the gangway leading to her ship, and there's like a hatch, and she looks through the airlock. And what does she see? So this is going to be the first look on Wellspring. So let me bring up Wellspring, and we're going to do our inner first look. And what she sees is that it's scarred by gunfire. So that means that these guys may have already been here, the raiders, and done some shooting. And when she opens the door, she sees a thick haze or smoke. So to me, that means that the raiders may be close, and there may have been some gunfire here recently. And as we walk out into in sort of the first corridor, Krista has to wonder if they're right here. So she is going to draw her gun, and she's got her scanner in the other hand, just like in her action figure that we have. And she's got Iris with her, and she turns and says, "Iris, be careful. There's smoke and a smell of gunfire, and it looks like there was a fight here very recently, and we know there are raiders here. So you just stick to the walls and up near the ceiling, and be very, very careful, and turn off your running lights so nobody can see you." And the lights go boop out, and Iris kind of beeps at her. Okay, so this is the first area, and now we have to sort of envision what this area is. So let's open up. So she gets through the hallway, and she goes to the first door. Now I'm not going to use this door here yet. This will be the first area we come to. So the first thing we're going to do is look at, where is she? So we're going to go into the derelict, and we're going to roll the location. And the first door she comes to is, oh no, that's not the type of location. Sorry. Hang on. The zone. We're in a settlement zone. So ignore that. We find a community section. And the type of area is a classroom or education. Okay, so she steps out uh, through the haze of gunfire in the hallway, and she comes to an education center. Um, so she looks in, and what she sees is this must have been where the school was. So she looks through the window and she opens the door, and she ends up in a classroom. And so it's got desks and stuff, and that's kind of what this section looks like. Um, you're supposed to use features sparingly. All right, so she starts out in an area in a hall. So what I'm going to say is actually, so let's look at this. This is classroom. So I'm going to say she's in a hallway, and on either side of the hallway she sees classrooms, and she's got her gun out, and she looks inside each of the classroom areas, and she doesn't see anything here. So she's going to continue onward, and let's see if she can get through. So we're going to undertake an expedition, and let's remember that we have our survey bot. So when we undertake an expedition within a site plus wits, we can add +1. And the question is, are we doing this plus wits, or are we doing this with stealth? I think she's staying vigilant. I don't think she's sneaking. I think she's looking for stuff. So let's have them stay vigilant right now, and so we get +1 with it. And that means we get to roll wits with +1 using our survey bot. And we get a weak hit. So we reach a waypoint, but the progress costs us. So we encounter, I think we're going to encounter a peril. I like seeing what the perils are. So let's envision the area. So she goes to the next section. And we've reached a waypoint, right? So that means progress. And so we've reached a waypoint, and now we want to envision. Let's bring Iris with us, and we want to envision, what do they see? So we go to the oracles, we go to derelicts, and just let me hang on and check this because I've never done a derelict before. All right, so we could stay in the community zone or see if it's another zone. I think we're going to roll this because my idea here is if we just roll community again, we stay in the same area. What are we doing? Wrong thing. If we roll something else, we've moved into a new section of the area. So let's roll, and we get community again. So we're still in the community section of this settlement, and then we go into community, and the area that we find here is a market or a trade area. So she finds the internal settlements where the stalls of the market. So basically, she walks down the hall, and now on each side of the hallway, and there are doors, but next to each door, there's like a half window that goes like from your waist up and is quite wide, like a picture window. Most of them are just there's like one of those sort of sheet metal shades that they can pull down and lock. So these things are mostly locked. Some are broken open. Looking inside the broken open ones, they're probably mostly empty. So this is a market. So let's go ahead and fill that in. And there's a peril here. Let's not roll on the feature. Let's see what the peril says. 71. Hazardous environmental change. Okay. So let's roll on feature and see if it gives us anything. Otherwise, we'll roll action and theme. Artificial environment. Okay. So I think the artificial gravity isn't working in here. So Krista comes out, she starts walking through the hallway, and all of a sudden she feels herself floating up. And the robot doesn't notice it because it can fly, so it's just sort of hovering. But Krista's like, whoa, whoa, whoa. And all of a sudden she's sort of floating in the middle of the corridor, right? And now she's not at the top, right? She's not at the bottom. She's not on the side. She's just sort of floating in the middle, weightless. And she starts cursing under her breath because now the artificial gravity isn't working and it's going to make it harder for her to move forward, right? So I feel like she's going to need to face danger here to get past the area that has no artificial gravity. I think that makes sense. Or do we want to just, I guess just undertake an expedition. Let's see if she can do it. So the question is, undertaking the expedition, I almost feel like this needs to be plus iron, right? For her own strength to pull herself, like what she's got to basically do is grab these vendor windows and the door frames and pull herself along the walls, right? Until she gets out of this zone, and hopefully the next zone will have its environmental, like the artificial gravity. So I feel like she needs to face danger plus iron here to avoid this problem, and if not, she might take some damage, like bang her head or something like that. She's not in her environmental suit because this place read as having minimal life support, so she can breathe. There's oxygen and stuff here, which means if she bangs her head, she doesn't have a helmet to protect her either. So I think it makes sense that she would maybe possibly stumble or whatever. So we're facing danger with mobility. I mean, I guess it's edge, right? Rather than strength. We're doing it with mobility. All right, so what she's going to do, here's what she's going to do. She's going to grab onto Iris, and she's going to say, Iris, pull me out of here, because Iris can fly. And she's going to like try to use Iris, and Iris's little arm, remember we've established it has a little arm, comes out, and she grabs Iris's arm, and Iris tries to pull her along. And so I think this is mobility. So let's face danger and see if we can do this without like taking some sort of an injury. And we get a strong hit. We're successful, take +1 momentum. So Iris pulls her along until she comes to the section of the market, like she goes past a bulkhead, and then the gravity re-engages, right? And so that they get a little further here. And Krista pats Iris on the, sort of on top of its little dome and says, "Thank you, Iris. That really helped." And Iris sort of beeps at her. And she says, "All right, come on, let's continue going through here." So now we're going to undertake an expedition. And now she's again staying vigilant, and we're rolling plus wits. And let's see where we go next. And we get helped by our bot. And we get a strong hit. So we reach a waypoint and we mark progress. So let's see what we find. The next section, the next zone, is production. And so we go to the production section, and this type of area is an exosuit bay. Very interesting. And I guess it'll be interesting to know, are there any exosuits here? So let's move in. So now we get to an area where the hall sort of closes in, and then there's an opening on the on one side, and the door is open, and Krista looks in, and she sees all of the alcoves where exosuits would be stored. We didn't find an opportunity, so I don't know that there is one here. I guess we can roll and see. Should we look at features? Well, there is this environmental suits thing in the features. Let's ask the Oracle. I think it's extremely unlikely. I think it is very small chance that there are any intact exosuits in here at this point. They've probably all been scavenged. No. All right. Should we... Should we try to scavenge here? There aren't any exosuits, but we might be able to resupply. She might find some batteries and that sort of thing. If she's a scavenger, I think we should try to do that. Um, yeah, let's see if she can resupply, because I think we need supply, don't we? Yeah, we're at 4 supply. Let's try to. So she's going to go into the exosuit bay. Let's write it out here. She's going to go into the exosuit bay. And she's going to. She's going to scavenge, right? She's not going to find an exosuit, but she might find parts, spare parts, stuff to help her repair Iris, that sort of thing. There might be like an empty parts, shell of a robot that's got some spare wires. She also needs some wiring and stuff to replace all the burnt out wiring from both encounters with the gamma ray. And so she's bypassed a lot of stuff, but she's going to need to do some repair, like to actually fix it, like to replace. And so I think it's worth doing a resupply here, especially since she is a scavenger and she's scavenging a wreck. So where is that? Where is resupply? Here. So we intend to bolster your readiness, right? She's going to resupply. So she's scavenging with plus wits. I don't think the survey bot helps her, right? No. But this does. So she can add +1. So we're going to roll resupply, we're going to add +1, we're going to roll wits, and she's going to see if she can find anything of use here. And we get a strong hit. Take +2 supply. Or sacrifice it. No, we're going to just take the supply. We only get 1 supply, that's fine. So she's maxed out her supply now. And so I think what she finds is there aren't any exosuits, but there's a bunch of spare wiring that the people who took the exosuits maybe didn't think was useful, but she's going to take that and pocket it because she can bring that back to the ship and use that to replace all the burnt out wiring from the engineering section and the bridge from the encounters with the gamma ray. So I think that's what she's got. So now she's going to continue. She sends Iris ahead to explore past the exosuit bay. Now again, I want to point out, guys, this is going all the way around this circle. You can't imagine, we're not trying to imagine that that we've gone a quarter of the way around this giant settlement already, right? It's just, she's just gone a little way. It's just, and there may be, areas in between that were just empty that we're not describing here, right? Because it's all being done sort of abstractly. But the only reason I made this number of sections is because I knew it was going to be a dangerous delve, right? So we shouldn't need more than about this many sections. If I were doing a formidable one, I would have made like twice as many sections. Epic one, I would have made way more sections inside and outside, and we would have had to like wrap around. So just to make sure everybody understands that. All right. So now we're going to undertake our expedition again, and again we're using the robot, and we're using wits, trying to be cautious, right? And we're staying vigilant. And we get a strong hit. We reach a waypoint and envision what it is. So let's go ahead and mark progress and see what we find. So we come to a zone that is another production zone. So this is still a production area. So this is a communications area, right? And then this part, these two are the production area, these two chambers here, sections. So this time we find a new zone via access. So let me see here, access. All right, so she's going through the exosuit bay, and what Iris does is Iris detects a corridor going off to the side, and this allows her to go into a new zone, right? So I think that means we roll the zone again. Yep. So there's a corridor here, which is going to lead to a new zone. And that new zone is research. Okay? Oh no, that's the name of the zone. Hang on. And the type of research area we have is... So she comes to an isolation or containment unit. So she comes to a containment unit. I wonder what it's containing. There's no peril here. Let's roll feature because I have no idea what it's containing. Bones or fossils? Okay, that's interesting. So she comes to a containment unit with bones or fossils. So what kind of bones and fossils do we have here? Let's roll descriptor and focus and see if it gives me any ideas. Exposed device. Exposed device. Well, that doesn't do me any good. So let's start asking some questions. So are these human? So it's bones or fossils. So let's ask the oracle. Is it bones? If not, it's fossils. No, so it's fossils. So this is a containment unit, and there are fossils here. So let me just add that little note. So if it's fossils, it can't be human fossils because humans, or it shouldn't be human fossils because humans weren't here long ago enough to be fossils. So let's say, are they human fossils, which would mean something weird is going on, like these guys might have evidence that humans were in this galaxy before this group that's settled? I'm going to say small chance. No. So they're not human fossils. Are they humanoid? I'm going to say unlikely? No. So let's go to the creature and just see what type of fossils are these. What's the scale? So these are huge whale-sized fossils. So she ends up in a containment unit that's massive, and it has these huge whale-sized fossils. What environment was this thing in? Air. Okay. And so she sees these huge whale-sized fossils of amorphous. That doesn't make sense, right? Because we need bones. So let's re-roll that. Avian winged. So does she see a giant fossil of something that looks like the gamma ray? And I think that's very likely, because that's what we know about already. So let's say likely. Is this a gamma ray fossil? It's not. So it's some sort of a large bird-like creature. We don't know where from. So what can we do here? Can she sort of scavenge this place? Let's gather information about it and see what do we find out about this thing. Is that what we want to do? Lore Hunter. Does she know anything about this? Has she encountered this before? Let's secure an advantage and see. So she looks at this thing, and now she's going to look at her data pad and recall her memory. Is this fossil look like anything she has seen before? Let's secure an advantage and find out. So we're doing wits, and we have +1 because she's an expert lore hunter. And we get a strong hit. So we get two momentum and +1 on our next move. So she knows something about these creatures. So let's roll it up. So let's just create. This is going to be a bird-like fossil for now, and I might name it. And so what we know so far is it's Scale is whale-sized. Its basic form is bird-like. Its environment was air. And so what does it look like in terms of the fossil? Let's see if we can figure this out. So it had compound eyes, and let's re-roll this one because it can't be luminescent. It's a fossil. And I don't know. So let's just leave the compound eyes, and we won't do any more. Can we do a revealed aspect? She maybe knows something about it. 30 electromagnetic pulse. Wow, that sounds an awful lot like the gamma ray, doesn't it? But I don't think so. May have given off electromagnetic pulses. So I don't know what this thing was called, but this is something that she's heard of before. Here's the question. Could there be something in the embedded in the fossil? I was thinking about like one of the Jurassic Park movies. Alan Grant has the bone from the velociraptor that it used to make whistles through its air cavities, like through its nasal passages. I think it was velociraptor, and he was blowing through it and making the sounds. Could it be that? I mean, it's a fossil. I can't imagine the thing that makes electromagnetic pulses is still active. Yeah, that doesn't make any sense. So there's this bird-like fossil. That's what she knows about it. Yeah, not sure that that's going to do her much good in this context, but okay, so she knows a little something about this thing, and I might figure out a name for it at some point. So here's an idea. Maybe, right? Might it be an ancient enemy of the gamma ray? Not sure, but maybe that's the advantage it will give us in the future. I'm actually going to make a GM call here. Oh wait, okay. So wait a minute. Hang on. We get +1 momentum. Didn't do that. I thought it was +1 to our next move. Was it? So we see here it says +1 on our next move. I'm going to overrule that because I don't think this fossil. I honestly, maybe it's just me and I'm a bad narrator, but I cannot imagine any way that a fossilized creature, not alive, it's not recent bones where it's like there's a body and she can pull the electromagnetic organ out to help her. I can't imagine any way that this thing could help her undertake a journey into the next section. So I'm not going to take the extra +1. We already get a ton of pluses with our character because we're rolling wits and we've got Iris with us. But I'm not going to do that because I feel like as a GM, I'm going to say to my player self, you haven't come up with any way that this fossil could help you on the next move, so I'm overruling the +1. So we're not taking a +1. The secure advantage, really, the question was just, has she heard of this thing before? It's not helping her in this case, but maybe it will help her. Maybe she can hunt down whatever this thing is and try to get it to fight the manta ray. Maybe distract it while she's attacking it, something like that. We'll have to see. So it might help her in the future. So now we're going to undertake another expedition. Right, we're going to continue, and we're rolling with +1 on wits. And we get a weak hit. So there's going to be a peril at the waypoint. So what do we envision? In our derelict, what kind of a zone do we get now? We end up in an operations zone. And we find the bridge or the command center. Okay, so she now finds the command center. And let's put her in here with Iris. So we're now in the command center. And I think we're going to want to roll feature here to know more about it. We're also going to roll peril. So let's roll the feature and see what else we've got. So there's emergency lighting. Okay, that makes sense because the regular lighting is off. So she comes in and it's dim in here. She's got her gun out. Iris is like floating, no lights on Iris, just over her shoulder. She's got her gun out. The regular lights are off. Only just sort of the dim red emergency lights are on. It's hard to see in here. And the peril. Action and theme. We get communicate power. Communicate power. We've reached a waypoint, so we do want to do that. Communicate power. So let me think about that. I think one of the raiders is in here trying to power up this station so they can find mainframe. And he's communicating with the others. So she comes in and she sees a guy on his communicator talking to the other raiders, right? So let's put one of them in here. That's not the right thing. So she sees a guy in here who is on the communicator saying, yeah, I don't see the readout for powering up the engine room here, or the reactor here. Everything is off. It's only on emergency lighting. I don't see any of the I don't see where the readout is to power it up. It doesn't look like there's any control in here. We might have to go to engineering. Like he's talking on the radio, and Krista, the door opens, and Krista walks in. So now the question is, she didn't come in here with stealth. Is he going to notice her? I think. I don't know. Let's say 50-50, right? It's not guaranteed that he's going to notice her, but she certainly didn't come in here with stealth. Does he notice her? Yep. So he turns around and he goes, "What?" And she puts her gun on him. And I think we're going to try a compel. She aims her gun at him because he has a gun, but he doesn't have it armed right now. And I think we're going to make a compel. Right? This isn't great. It's not her strong suit. She has to do iron here. She says, "Right now, turn off that communicator and raise your hands, or I'm going to plug you." What's he going to do? Well, guys, we're 38 minutes in, so I think we'll find out in the next episode. I hope you've enjoyed. Until next time, I am Scrapperlock, and this is Starforged Alpha Cluster.